welcome to another episode of Education Online with Dr. Sunita Agarwalla. In the last episode, we were just talking about communication. So I just talked about what is communication, what are the types of communication. It's a vast subject, so I had told you we cannot finish it in one go. So today we'll be discussing on what are the barriers to communication. Now, when you communicate or you talk, when maybe it is two people talking, maybe it is a teacher talking in the class, maybe it is a speaker speaking amongst the audience, anything, when a communication is going on, there may be so many barriers, there may be so many obstacles to them, and we have to be very careful about it. First obstacle that may come is linguistic barrier related to language, right? So we must be very careful of the language we are using. Sometimes it happens the person to whom you are speaking may not know your language. So when you speak in a language not known to the audience, it becomes ineffective. We also have to be very, very careful about the words we choose. When we talk in public, the words we choose has to be different than what we talk in informal circles. It also depends, we must be very careful that there is clarity in words are very clear. Then also technical words, when we try to speak or communicate to people, we must not use very big technical words. Easy words are better because they can be understood better. Now when I'm talking of language or words, sometimes it creates great confusion. Let me share an example with you. Once we were doing a refresher course in Ahmedabad. There was a teacher from Karnataka and there was a teacher from Manipur. Now the teacher from Karnataka, he was talking to his parents and he was telling something. He spoke a word which must have been some slang in Manipur. So the teacher from Manipur, he was like, why did you use the word? And he was like, no, I didn't use the word. It means this in our language. And then a misunderstanding took place between them. So sometimes these type of things happen. Like there are certain words which we cannot use in Hindi. When we say nai, that means a barber. In Assamese, when we say nai, that means no. It's not fitting or it's no. But in South, if you say nai, that means that's a slang for them. So we have to be careful about the words we are choosing. There may be some psychological barriers that comes from the end of the speaker sometimes, or sometimes even the audience. If you in your speaking, if there is aggression, your mood is a aggressive mood, people will not enjoy it. Sometimes the person they are listening, the people listening to you may not be interested. And when the speaker comes to know that the audience is not interested or the person in front of you is not interested, then you become like, you yourself become disinterested or demotivated to speak further. There may be, obviously, environmental factors will be there. There may be disturbance of sound. Some sounds are coming from side or from the audience. The speaker gets distracted. There may be lack of ventilation in the room you are speaking. Suppose there is a classroom where there is no ventilation. Children will not be interested. Again, you may be speaking somewhere where there is no ventilation provision. We don't like to speak there because we also get choked and the audience also will get choked. If there is lack of space, no proper sitting arrangement, usually in the class we see that if lot of children sit on a single bench, they keep on pushing each other like this, like they are more interested in making a space for themselves than listening to what the teacher is telling because they are not comfortable in sitting. So again, time is like, a speaker should be very particular about the time. They should be within the time. Like people don't like to listen to lectures for hours and hours. Sometimes we do listen. When the speaker is very, very, very interesting or the subject is of great interest to us. Otherwise, we don't like to listen to long lectures. So the teacher, maybe it is the teacher or the speaker or anybody, we must be very careful in maintaining the time. And then also distance from the participants. If the participants are at a greater distance than the speaker, then they will not have interest. So they should be near to the, not very near like, but they should be near. But when you are making one-to-one conversation, obviously you have to be near to the other person. Then there are also sender and receiver barriers, like it depends on the mood of the sender or depends on the mood of the receiver. You are not in a very good mood and sometimes somebody sends you something, you may misunderstand it, okay, like he or she is making a joke of my situation or anything. The person was very innocent, he or she didn't even know, but they just sent you something on WhatsApp or something, a message, or they cracked a joke over the phone or anything like that. So that may happen. Level of trust one holds for the other person. You don't trust the speaker, you don't like the person, and the person is speaking, then all the time we'll have a doubt whether he or she is speaking the truth. Again, the perception about the other person, that also comes under the trust only. Lack of empathy, if we are not empathetical to the group we are speaking, very, very important for a teacher. If a teacher is not empathetical towards the students, usually we forget that we were also students one time, we also did the same things they are doing, and then the teacher may tell something which hurts the student. In the same way, when we speak in public also we have to be careful about it. It also depends on the personality type of the sender or the receiver. If the personality of the sender or the personality of the person speaking is not appealing, then we do not like to hear to the words he or she is spoken. Content should be very, very sensitive, because we have to be very careful. Sometimes, like, once I had to go and speak on a topic on religion and religiosity amongst a crowd which was mix of different religions. Now it becomes very difficult to speak in such type of crowd. But in those at times we have to be very, very careful about the words you are using, because you have to speak what you have to speak, right? You cannot just see the crowd and say, okay, I'll skip the content. No, but it is the way how we present it. So we have to be very careful. We should be very, very careful on the words of use of words we use. Also on the level of understanding of the audience. Now you go to a village and you are talking to the village women who have never been to school or anything, and you use maybe English words, maybe suppose for example, if you go to the village, they have a different language, the dialect is different. Now you speak the dialogue which is very common in the town area or in the city areas, they will not be able to understand. So at last what will they say? Okay, she or he was a very great speaker, he or she is a great person, so maybe whatever was spoken was very good, but we didn't understand anything. So there is no purpose. We have to be very careful what the words we are choosing, the language we are choosing, about the understanding level of the audience, the person to whom we are talking. It may be one-to-one, it may be a bigger audience. So whether it is one-way communication, whether it is two-way communication, whether it is verbal communication, whether it is non-verbal communication, we have to be very, very careful that these barriers do not come in the way of our communication, whether it is linguistic barrier, whether it is psychological barrier, environmental barrier, sometimes technologically also. It may happen the mic may not work or something wrong may go wrong, but the most important is we have to be very careful about the linguistic and psychological barriers. Be very careful about the content we are using. It should be very, very friendly to the audience we are speaking. The language should be simple, understandable language, so that they can connect with the speaker. And it's very important that the audience makes a connection with the speaker, whether it's a teacher or you're speaking to anybody, you may be communicating to your parents also. But if you're not being able to make them understand, how you'll make them understand? If you connect to them, right? We see movies, there are so many movies. Like one of the movies I like is Goodbye, where the children, they feel that the father never treated the mother well, or something misunderstanding was there. But when they started understanding their father, speaking to each other, they could understand. So these barriers have to come out, the psychological barriers which we have in our own mind, the perception of the person, the distrust we have on somebody else. So if we can do this, if we can remove the barriers, we can be great communicators. And obviously we all understand communication is a very, very important skill that we have to have in our life, at any stage of our life, at every stage of our life. Great communicators have been very successful people. So with this, I end my today's episode. Please do not forget to watch it on YouTube, Education Online with Dr. Sunita Agarwalla. And please also don't forget to hear it on Spotify every Sunday 9 a.m. with a different episode. And I've been telling again and again, please share this with your maximum people and tell them to watch so that they can be benefited. Thank you.